it was brave. It was very brave for South Africa to take the stand in the ICJ against Israel's agenda and the United States agenda. To be fair, United States is long captured. I mean, come on. It's not a United States. That's Israel states at this point. Okay, it was brave for South Africa, such a small country in a sense of schema of things. I mean, you are dealing with the big boys here, right? And for South Africa to take a stand like that against Israel and America, I thought it was so big in the ICJ. But I said it, we will pay for that. I said this, we are going to pay at some point for that stand. It was always going to come to bite South Africa. And it has arrived, it's here. It has came back to bite us, the stand that we took, which I think was right too. I still stand by it. South Africa is one country that needs to spot any form of oppression or apartheid, like everywhere in the world. We are one country that needs to spot that and be the one actually to raise it first. Right? So, the US sanctions on the ANC leaders. Guys, I need to say this. I have spoken in my platform for so many times. To be honest with you, I wish South Africa was led by a different party at this point. I always said that all the time. I am not an ANC guy, bro. Like, I think ANC was okay for, like, they did okay, I mean, to bring South Africa where we are in terms of where we come from. But that's history, bro. That's history. As far as governing the country, shame. Shame. They tried, shame. The corruption and whatnot. It's enough. It's enough. I'm good with that now. For me, 30 years was enough to know that the ANC was capable to get us to this point, and ANC is not the way to go forward. That's fine, right? This is my problem, though. If for the slightest moment, for the smallest moment, you think that United States of America sanctioning ANC leaders is about corruption in South Africa, bro, you must be as stupid as they come, bro. Bro, you have to be, I don't know, man, you have to be that dumb, bro. You have to be slow. You are slow, bro. This has nothing to do with that. This has nothing to do with that. America doesn't care about South Africa and the corruption in South Africa. They don't give a fudge, bro. They don't care about that. They do not care about us. Why would America care that, the ANC leaders in South Africa are corrupt? Let's go help the people in South Africa and sanction They do not care about us like that, bro. This one is straight about the case in the ICJ. It is about that. It's about the case in the ICJ. I mean, they said it. It's about that. Let's listen. They said it. It's about that. So I get confused when other people argue otherwise to say, but America sanctioned the apartheid. What? The apartheid leaders. Maybe they sanctioned apartheid. Maybe. Nah, my man. Nah, bro. This is not the same thing. This is not the same thing. Listen here.
Now, the US Congress considering a bill to impose sanctions against some ANC leaders.
The House Foreign Affairs Committee approved the bill yesterday, with the majority of lawmakers on the committee objecting to South Africa's close ties with Russia and China.
See, that's another thing this is about. Our relationship with BRICS countries, especially Russia and China in the BRICS. That's another thing this is about. So it has nothing to do with corruption. That's what I'm saying. I keep saying this. It has nothing to do with corruption in South Africa, bro. South Africa is a democracy right now. That's what you get in a democracy. The ANC is corrupt, and South Africans allowed the ANC to be corrupt and to eat our money by voting for them. These people are chosen by South Africans to be there, to have access to our finances. This is a choice by South Africans. So it's not the same thing to say, but America also did the same to apartheid leaders. And nah, it's not the same thing. This is not the same thing. It's not. This is not the same thing. They're not here caring for us and the corruption. They're not sanctioning ANC leaders for corruption, for what? No. They're sanctioning them for our relationships in the BRICS, obviously, or because they are obviously working also to try and get rid of BRICS, dismantle the organization. We know that, of course, and I understand why they would do that, right? Why would they do anything for just for us that we have corruption? They have corruption of their own that they need to deal with. What the hell, bro? We're a democracy and we voted for this. You know, as much as I didn't vote for the ANC, of course, and I know so many people didn't vote for the ANC, but we know that majority of us, compared to other parties, ANC has been voted more than any other party. Even now, with them not passing the 50% mark, but they still voted more than any other party. That's South Africans. They chose that. The only thing that I do not want to agree with is this thing of letting a foreign entity to interfere with our own affairs in that sense. I don't want that. And it's so weird this is coming now. Sbu, this next part that I want to say, please put it on the 1 minute video. Please put it on the 1 minute video, because I said this last time, actually. There is no such a thing as sovereignty for an African country, any African country. There isn't such a thing. I'm willing to argue that. I'll debate that every day, all day. There is no such a thing as sovereignty for an African country. Sovereignty implies that you can defend yourself, your sovereignty. That's what it implies. Sovereignty implies that you are well established as a country or as an entity, that you can defend your sovereignty, and we can be able, right, to see you and identify you as an actual country in a sense that you can defend yourself. You know, guys, I keep saying this thing again, let's not mistake weakness as being good. African countries are just not good enough or competent enough to be able to defend themselves. That's the biggest problem here. Hence, we are always going to suffer from Western, like, imperialist regimes. We are always going to suffer from that because we are not well established as countries. We don't have good defense. We don't have good of anything, actually, let alone defense. And that's the problem. Sovereignty implies that. So if you say South Africa is a sovereign country, whereas America can come in and interfere and do whatever they want to do, summon your president to the White House, do whatever they want to do, and you know the consequences for you. South Africa has no leg in trying to summon Trump to anything. We cannot do that. We cannot call on, we're going to sanction America. We don't have power to do anything like that. Hence I say this. Sovereignty applies in European states, and now with the rise of Japan and China and them Asian countries, India, you know, that's where sovereignty applies. You know, to actually have well-realized sovereignty, you have to be so threatening that a person who would dare to try your sovereignty, they know the consequences they will suffer. If you look at North Korea again, I repeat this, I said this in the last episode. Look at North Korea. Nobody's going to touch them. They know they have nuclear weapons. So a threat that they pose to anyone who threatens their sovereignty is very real and alive. And this is the problem that African countries have. We're not well established, especially when it comes to defense and whatnot. We're just not we don't have the superpower yet in that level of China and America or Russia and them to be competent to that extent. And that's my problem. If there's something to blame African leaders for, that is one of them. We don't have well-realized sovereignty. Hence, all these European states run all over us, do whatever they want and as they please. They just do as they please. Exactly because of that. And this is a good example of that, with America interfering in South Africa, right? And they're using their power actually to threaten South Africa to back them down with their case in the ICJ and the relationship they have in the BRICS. Anywho, I swear you have to be slow as they come if you really think this is about corruption in the ANC leaders. I am raising my hand right now. I actually wish we are not led by ANC in anything. That's me, right? I say that. But I'm not going to sit here and and allow a foreign entity to interfere in our own affairs as a sovereign country. That's the biggest problem. You will never have South Africa. I'm telling you, it's the biggest problem. Because one of the central things, in South Africa, one thing that always makes me say we do not have a country, because we are pulling in different directions when it comes to these parts, especially in politics. Like white South Africans in majority are pulling South Africa towards the Western relations, right? They're pulling us towards the Western relations for obvious reasons. That's where they come from. That's where their roots come from. And for obvious reasons. They have families in England and all other countries, right? Because they are Westerns in terms of their ancestrally roots. Right? So they pull us to that in terms of international relations. So they want us to be aligned with America and imperialism. They want to subject us. It's almost like they want South Africa to be a colony of America and England. So we'll use these parts again in the 1-minute video. South Africa, it's almost like the white South Africans want South Africa to be a colony of England or Western regime, whereas then you have in majority again, and I said, I understand. This is because their roots trace back from there. And then for the majority, the black South Africans, they seem to be pulling towards the BRICS side, which is the South, obviously, and the East, right? Which is then aligning us with China and Russia. Whereas the West, on the other side, aligning us with America and England and them, the European countries. The EU, basically. And this is the major problem when it comes to South Africans. I feel like this is one point where we are pulling in different directions for the majority as a country. When it comes to that alignments and those international relations, we are then breaking. This is the only time where I'm like, we do not have a country. We are not pulling in the same direction. Because South Africa would be far if South Africans were all in different races pulling in the same direction. If we are all pulling in the same directions, but when it comes to this subject, we are not pulling in the same direction, shame. We are not. White South Africans pulling towards the West, mostly majority, they're pulling towards the West. Majority black people are pulling towards the East, towards Russia and China. That's it. That's what is happening. And it's one of our biggest issues. That's where they want us to be subjected to this. And for the majority, again, South Africans, black South Africans, the reason they would pull towards the East is because the oppression has always came from the West.